I'm out here grinding. When you talk about greatness, whatever you say about me, cause I'm out here grind, grind, get it, grind, get it, get it, get it, get it, grind. Get your grind on, get your shine on, get your grind on, get your grind on, get your grind on, get your shine on, get your grind on, get your shine on. It's your boy, the insane game freak, back in the building with another big beat. It's your boy, the insane game freak, back in the building. Hope you really see me. Got your sauce on TV. But your boy feeling too queen. Oh goddamn! No! Not the notification noises. I might need to mute this for a minute. It's your boy feeling pristine. It's your boy back in the building. I ain't got bars. I just got philosophical quotes that I can sing for hours and hours. And I'm feeling the power. And I'm throwing my hands across the ladder. Cause I don't wanna be cake batter. And cause I'm cooking all these fools like data. And I got data like I farm to the matter. I gray matter with the thought in the brain and the game beat back. Game freak and zang. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane gang. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. I'm back in the building, wanna come fuck with me. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. Gang freak. Gang freak. I forgot to get a drink. I didn't really think this shit out. Ow. Got the water. I got the bit of water. I gotta get the agua. I'm gonna feel it like a matters. Cause it all matters. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. Boy, gang. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. It's your boy the insane game freak. Gang freak. It's your boy. It's your boy the insane game freak. Back in the building, rapping like I'm 16. Got bars so weak, I can never be called a king. But I gotta get gone, gotta go and get gone, get it, go, man, I gotta go, really gotta go, man, I gotta go. Oh shoot. Hey, what's up, Kimberly? Cause I really got to go, man, I gotta get gone, really gotta go, man, I gotta go, feeling like I go, man, I gotta go. It's your boy, the insane game freak. Back in the building, feeling too pristine. What's up, Adam? I'm Copa. I'm feeling like I'm living a cabana. Not a rapper, just a fat. Alright, I'm gonna stop. Welcome, everyone. It's your boy, the insane game freak. Welcome back to another edition of Big Back Fridays, which is the stream in which I eat food and talk about things. So, to give you the food that we're eating today, it's actually, if you heard of a place called Sarkoo's, it's in here. Oh, God. Dang. It's a food place here in the mall that has some good food. So, I'm going to be eating that while we sit here and talk about things. And chat and pick out. Oh, dang. Thank you for the $2. Nappy boys, you nat. Nappy boy. It's your boy and that big boy. Ooh-wee. Let me stop. Baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink. It is bussin'. I don't say what my name. I thought, well, it says Kopak Autumn, so I assumed that was the name I was going for. So, this is just simply an egg roll. So we're going to ingest this and talk about things. But hopefully everyone's Friday is going well. We've made it through another week, y'all. We're so close to freedom. I wish I could throw it in this bag. Thank you to the donation, Revolver. But yeah, hopefully everyone's doing well. Living life. Things have been good for everyone. We out here. We chilling. We living. We grinding. I'm eating. I'm fine dining. Boy, I ain't gonna stop. If anyone's ever had, this is the magical white sauce, which I know is gonna sound suggestive. I'm gonna take the L on that one. Oh, well, I mean, that's fine, dude. If you want me to try to pronounce it properly, just give me kind of like the syllable spelling. Like, what does it sound like? Like, is it Kolpak or Kapak or Kapak? Like, is some letter silence? Dipping in the snow bunny. What? Dipping in the snow bunny's weekend? Yo, what do you mean? Oh my goodness, not the snow bunny weekend. Baby. Oh no. We're living a different type of lifestyle, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen? Means shock in English. Gotcha. So this is...
I'm not sure about the answer to your specific question, but according to dictionary.cambridge.org,
hey, Google.
shock noun.
Shh. Hush. Thank you. Okay. I have a Google Nest behind me, so it tends to go off sometimes when I'm saying things. Honestly, I'm sorry, Dr. Umar. Hey, bro, I don't care, bro. Love who you love. Listen, it's in 2025. We're still playing the race only thing. That's a personal choice, not because you have to. I see a Zorro fan in here. Well, I see a One Piece fan in here. Well, mine. Delicioso. Hopefully everyone's having a good Friday, enjoying themselves, living. We're gonna have a kind of I guess I'd call it a pseudo-serious topic. Of course, it won't really kick in until I finish eating, because talking about like being single and lonely, or just talking about being singleness and loneliness in it together, it's not one of those conversations you can do kind of half-assed. But I do want to talk about it because it has been coming up lately. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing an influx of videos talking about I'm 32 and lonely. I'm 25, single and lonely. I'm 45, I still live with my parents, I'm single and lonely. I'm like, holy shit. What's going on? I remember when that video was like a one-off video, and that one video blew up and that's all it was. Now it's become a genre almost in itself. Let's talk about the single and lonely videos. I really should turn up the notifications. Actually, let's do that. There we go. No more notifications.
I don't know, but I found these results on search.
Hey Google, turn the mic off.
I can't change mic access yet.
Why the hell not? Let me turn the mic off real quick. Give me a second. I really gotta plan this out better. But you know, when food comes, I want to just eat that shit a bit
The mic
immediately.
and camera are off.
Then why are you notifying me of it? Well, it's down. I can eat in peace. No hate, but I think 3% of farming for clicks and views. Well, part of it, that is what it is. Like any other YouTube genre, it becomes like a hustle. Hey, how can I make myself seem appealing? Why not call myself a loser? But this is also coming from people who have like such a myriad of issues, social, interpersonal, mental, and just have not worked them out because they're not expected or required to. Therefore, they get stuck in the same rut of just never getting their shit together. And it becomes this sad realization that all they would have to do is put in the work, and they probably would be in a lot better position than they are now. But they don't want to put in the work because, well, as you know, it's work. You know how hard, you know how unappealing it is to put in work? It's hard as hell. It's also easy. Well, of course, they tell one-sided stories. I think one of the hardest things it is for us humans to do is acknowledge our own faults and mistakes. And then not only acknowledge them, but, damn, someone's revving a motorcycle outside. Damn. But not only acknowledge your mistakes, but then be like, okay, this is what I did. This is what I did wrong. This is how I could fix it. And then putting in the effort to fix it. That's a lot of work you're expecting someone to do consistently. And I'm going to be real with you. Some people just get tired of being fucking wrong. Even when they're wrong, no one wants to be wrong. So as a result, you get a bunch of people constantly being like, I'm not wrong, the rest of the world is wrong. You just don't get it. Because it's easier to blame someone else for your problems than to blame yourself. So the reason why this is even the title of the video, Single and Lonely, is because I think everyone's already known that over time there's been an issue of people going out less and less. Obviously COVID didn't help. And then on top of that, the dating sphere has just become all types of fucked up in terms of how people engage with each other, interest in relationships, romantic or otherwise, monogamy, and then, you know, the obvious friend zoning nonsense, and new generations of adults and children combating this world with not understanding how things work. I'll give you a concrete example. The guy who always complains about the girl who goes for the bad guy. Oh, why does she always go for the bad guy, man? I'm right here. I'm a kind and sweet, caring guy. Why doesn't she go for me? There could be 50 dudes in a bar, and the one guy she tends to go home with is the guy who can pay her any attention. Why is it? I think the problem that a lot of guys struggle with is that we don't recognize the woman's perspective. When you're in a society that is constantly telling you you're beautiful, you're pretty, you're perfect, that means that doesn't move you. Women do respond off of compliments, just like guys do, but girls get them so consistently that a normal compliment no longer holds weight for them. Hence why guys have to try harder to get, especially an attractive woman's attention, because most attractive women have heard every type of way to say you're pretty that you could possibly say. So when you go, hey, there's that guy over there who isn't paying me any attention, he immediately sticks out like a sore thumb because he's different from every other guy in the room. On top of which, it becomes a sense of normality. I think the problem is that, and I think I've said this before, men tend to treat a lot of the things they want in life like goals. Like, hey, I want a job, I'm gonna do X and Y, Z to get the job. I wanna make music, so I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z to make music and get a record deal. And men look at women usually in the same way. I want that girl, I need to do X, Y, and Z to put myself in the position to get that girl. The problem is that women are people. Women are human, just like we are. And so, looking at them as a trophy tends to devalue their like, themselves. That's why girls don't tend to go for guys who are like overly obsessed with them. Unless they're just trying to use them for something like money or some sort of gain. So as a result, the reason why the quote unquote bad boy is popular is partly because he's different without trying. Everyone else wants to one up themselves to fall over you and get your attention. He just does not care. So when he does start showing interest in you, you know it's genuine. Women are human. Chill, big fella. Hey, thank you for the second $2 donation. Thank you for the second $2 donation, Revolver. I appreciate it. But people don't understand. So, as a result, guys then become angry and jaded and tend not to respect women. And then, unfortunately, like everything else in life, there is a game to be played in terms of interacting with the opposite sex and engaging with them. And some guys have cracked the code absurdly well. The good news about that is, well, now he can get any woman he wants. The bad news about that is that now he doesn't really respect women as much because he's now figured out how to deal with them. And so now there's no challenge, there's no interest. The problem is, I think we all want to be challenged. I would think the only reason why people want something easy is because they don't know the joy that comes with getting something that is hard to obtain. Getting a girl to be interested in you isn't hard. Getting a girl that you can fall in love with is really fucking hard. And then not being afraid of her. Because a girl that you fall in love with is a girl who literally can take your whole heart out of your chest with no resistance. And she has all the power in her hands. Now granted, in a relationship that works both ways. A guy can do the same thing. The other reason why relationships and being single and lonely is such a strong epidemic is because of people's work ethic. People don't want to work for shit anymore. Or they don't want to take the hard road, which the hard road is just getting a job. Yeah, we do. You know why we fall in love so easily, though? We fall in love so easily because we don't because men don't know how to. Men, when you're a protective being, genetically, anyways, to find something you care about and you want to protect with your whole heart, we are taught as boys to put everything we have in the shit we do. To give it our whole effort, our whole heart, and our whole being. So as a result, we want to keep trying. We want to keep pushing. We don't want to give up. And so when we fall, it hurts. It hurts us every time. And the reason why it hurts us every time is because we're trying so hard to connect while also being steered to death. See, breakups tend to hurt men a lot too. We're actually very sensitive beings, but society has beaten that sensitivity out of us as if it's a punishment. Well, thank you for passing through, buddy. Hopefully this entertains you for the 5 or 10 seconds you're here. But we're just talking about society, relationships, and whatnot. But the other struggle is, like I said, is that people don't want to work for shit anymore. That's the other struggle we got going on in current society. When the popularity of streaming, Instagram, TikTok, Reels, whatever, social media has become such a powerful force in society to the point where people's lives can be completely changed just off of one tweet, one post, one TikTok, one YouTube. People are like, I want that. I want that. The kicker is, this shit is still hard. YouTube and streaming is not an easy thing. It's one of those, like, you have to be willing to put in the work and learn the systems that are in place to figure out how to take advantage of them to get to where you want to be. It also requires you to play a certain game. And it's something that, and it unfortunately also leads to a painful realization. Some people ain't it. My issue, no real communications and relationships become more political than personal. Of course they have. The biggest problem with the recent elections in the last 10 years. What's up, Elf? Elif Blossom? What's up? politics has changed. Politics has become an issue in family dynamics in general. Not even like just dating. I just mean like in terms of you and your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, kids, grandkids. That's the last two elections have heavily taken politics and made it the main force in our entire country. That's all we fucking talk about now. Everything's tied in with either being woke, liberal, racist, sexist, homophobic. We've tied everything in. And we've essentially taken away the ability to just enjoy entertainment without thinking about the social commentary and who it's for and what it's affecting and what the actual message is. Which sucks because it is never good to be immersed in one thing for too long. Bars. No, I'm playing. That's not a bar. That's a very common phrase. It can't be a bar, but it's a common phrase. When you take politics and keep it in everyday conversation, it means you can never escape it, which means you create this exhaustion. And although it's not wrong to be aware and conscious of the world you live in, it is wrong when you're forced to be there and you can't get out of it. If anything, it makes you avert your eyes away from the conversation, regardless of how effective and important it can be, purely because I'm just tired of seeing this shit. And as a result, we tied our whole identity into our political alignment, which is terrible because humans are nuanced. We don't just because I have one Republican type view, one liberal type view, and one like Democratic type view, you can't just put me in a box. Humans aren't meant to be put into sides. The reason why people like sides is because it's easy to create division with sides. It's easy to create little mini armies when it's like, oh, I'm red, you're blue. You know, I'm tall, you're short. You know, I'm young, you're old. Men, women. Same shit. It's so easy to divide when you create these little groups. You know, it's them or us. Cis males, homosexuals. You know, I'm not in love with it by any means. But that's part of the issue. We create these little... that's part of the reason why I don't care for identity politics. Identity politics is essentially segregating us more based off external factors. Some of which is important to our perspective, but shouldn't be our defining thing. Just because I'm a man, just because I'm black, just because I'm obese. Those shouldn't be the categories. Well, I'm a man, therefore XYZ has to be true. And you're a woman, so XYZ has to be true. It's compartmentalizing us as humans for the sake of creating division. And as a country and as a people, we suffer because of it. Well, I mean, unfortunately, every race and religion does that type of shit. Black people, the reason why it bothers us more is one, because we're black, and two, because we get hurt on both sides. It's funny, when I was talking to a friend who's mixed. She's mixed with like Korean and black. She's half black, half Korean. And she struggles, and a lot of mixed kids always struggle with that identity issue. But I think black kids who aren't even mixed, but just have interests that are so outside of their stereotypical race, go through the same identity issues as kids because we can't connect to anything. And we're rejected by everyone. Although, part of that's because you're different. It's not even like a black thing. It's just that if you have a group of 100 kids and this one kid speaks Spanish, you immediately get hoed just for speaking a different language. Not that there's anything wrong with speaking Spanish, but it's different from everybody else. Therefore, you're now ostracized because of it. And that happens with every little thing. I think black guys, especially us, like the ones who like grew up in the nerdy, non-stereotypical black content, whether it was like alternative or like rock or anime or even like geeky shit, we feel it more because our stereotype, ironically enough, puts us in like the cool kids. Like being black for young people is conceptually considered cool, regardless if it is or not. That's what we're considered. Oh, we're the movers and shakers of the culture, absolutely. But as a result, what that means is that we're put in the cool box. So any black kid who doesn't fall into that line immediately is getting hoed by their whole race. And unfortunately, we as a community need to fight that. The same thing goes with the whole glorification of rap. Rap was a way people made it out. Selling drugs was a way that people made it out. But I think we, as a result, because it was our way of getting out, we don't like to acknowledge that it was inherently a problem and does not benefit the community as a whole. And we don't do that because then it makes us look bad as a result. But growth is not saying that everything you did was great. Growth is acknowledging the things you had to do to survive, but that objectively they're not a good thing. And that the goal should be to create a future for other people to never be put in that position in the first place. Like, we're not glorifying selling drugs and sipping lean. Some of us did that shit to either cope with bad situations or to make money to provide for our families. That was the goal of those things. The goals of those things were not, I just want to get fucked up tonight. I just want to ruin my life tonight. I just want to ruin everything I built up to destroy. All right, I'm going to stop. But you get my point. Like, that wasn't the goal. That's what happened. But of course, when you get older and you realize it's a problem, and other people talk about how much of it's a problem and how it needs to be denounced. Well, I mean, it wasn't all bad, man. Like we got money off of that. Yeah, but listen, I'm not discrediting you. People take it as a personal attack, right? I made my money through selling drugs, quote unquote, right? So when I talk about how bad the drug game is, you feel like it's a personal attack. When realistically, I'm angry at the drug game. I'm angry that the drug game was the method to get out in the first place. I'm mad that people put drugs in these neighborhoods to fuck up the population to where that was a viable way of getting out, which was essentially ruining our population more. And of course, we can be like, well, we want the root cause of it. And I'm like, sure, we weren't the root cause of it. But we promoted it like it was a lifestyle worth having, when realistically all it was the way we could survive in the shitty conditions we were given. Because motherfuckers were still trying to kill us. And people don't like to acknowledge it because it hurts them too much. Whereas in my opinion, it hurts us more to not acknowledge it and to not denounce it. But everyone's different. I grew up in too many black households and then they're like, I ain't most black people. That's because technically you are. Like, my father wasn't around. My sister's father wasn't around. That's unfortunately more of the norm than the exception. And it is indeed a problem. And it's sad. But that means we shouldn't look at you, Revolver, negatively for having something that we realistically all should have had. Because one, it's not your fault, it's not your control, because whether the fact that your dad and your mom stayed together, that was their decision. And you benefited from it. Now, does it suck because you got persecuted for it? Absolutely. But that's not your fault, and you should never be blamed for that. Unfortunately, you probably were, and that wasn't right. But my point is, you shouldn't have been. What was that? Oh, notification. One second, guys. The chicken is good. The chicken is good. Woo-hoo. I'm feeling good tonight. Let's make this party go right. I'm feeling pristine. I'm feeling like a king. It's hard to try to do singing right after eating and drinking water. I realistically shouldn't do that. But getting back on the loneliness thing for a second. It is, and I'm chewing. That was not smart. I should have finished chewing before I started that point. But here's the thing. Loneliness, I think, is something every human experiences. Even me, because I'm introverted. So a lot of the time I enjoy my peace. But I'll tell you, the loneliness really sets in when you move out on your own. Especially if you can afford to be by yourself. Meaning you don't have to get roommates or whatever. And for me, I didn't really feel the loneliness until, I want to say, after I had a bunch of friends over. A bunch of my friends came down, I want to say back in 2022, to visit me here in my home city and in my house. And I hosted them. It was an amazing experience. I had fun. I was happy to see them. I was happy to spend time with them. I just enjoyed the experience, right? But I want to say the worst experience was after I dropped them off at the airport and I came back home, I had to come into this house and deal with the nasty emotional backlash of going from a house that was bustling and lively with a bunch of talking, music, and fun going on to then shift over to like dead silence in the darkness of an empty house where every word I say echoes across the fucking room. And it bothered me. I was like, damn. And I don't get that way all the time. But every once in a while, you'll have those moments where you'll pause and be like, fuck. And I imagine this is just me, right? Someone who's introverted and who most of the time enjoys the quietness and like enjoys being by himself. I can only imagine how the rest of society's handling it, who is nowhere near introverted as I am, and some of which are rarely really extroverted. This shit must feel like torture. And what people don't like to acknowledge is that this shit does a lot to a person's psyche. This is some mentally detrimental shit. It eats at the mind. Just the silence, just the lack of interaction fucks with people. Which is why the single part kind of connects to it openly. Because obviously the two types of companionship you can have is either friendship or relationship, like a lover. And unfortunately, both methods are really hard to accomplish. I have a question for you guys in the chat while I'm going to finish part of this meal. And answer it while I'm eating. How do you make friends in 2025 if you're not in school? So let's say you're at least 25 or 26. You're out of high school, you're out of college, and all you do is work. How do you make friends this day and age, let alone get dates? How do you make friends? And actually, here's a better question. What's harder, to make friends or to get a date? Actually, you know what? I'm going to make that a poll. Hold on. We'll make that a poll, actually. Can't you make a poll? Yeah, there we go. Give me 1 second. Hold on. There we go. Put that in the chat. I'm just curious how people feel about it. How do you? What's harder for you guys? Making friends or getting a date, which are both hard. But I'm just curious. So answer that. I want to see the poll answers after I finish eating. But I want to eat because it's get cold and it'll be a problem. Also, I'm almost close to done. But I am curious because it is an important question to ask. What is harder in today's society? To get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or even get the date for the opportunity to possibly build a relationship, or just making friends and making genuine friends? Because there are plenty of people who have work friends. I think that's the other thing that's kind of gotten lost on people. People think the work friend is just anybody you're cool with. That's not how that works, okay? And you can tell those people aren't your friends because of what you are and are not willing to do for them or with them. I'll give you an example. A work friend is not an actual friend. You want to know why a work friend isn't actually a friend? Because a work friend means that you only hang out and indulge in that person at work. You do not engage with that person any other way but work. Which is fucking bad, obviously. The reason why you're probably doing this is because you don't want to see that person outside of work. Now, there are two reasons why you may not want to see an individual outside of work. The first reason is I don't want to, you don't want to see that person outside of work because, hey, I work with them for 8 hours a day. I don't need to see them another like 4 or 5 hours or even 2 or 3 hours after we just worked an 8-hour shift, right? And that's one thing. The other reason is because you guys only talk about work, which is usually another kick in for a work friend. If the only thing you guys really discuss is work related shit, that just means that your relationship is hinged on work. And nothing else going on between you two except work. As someone destined to be alone, this was too easy to answer. But hey, I'm a 7-Eleven when it comes to advice, apparently. A 7-Eleven? Who said that? What did I miss? I feel like I missed something. You gotta explain that one, Richie. I'm just curious, honestly. But I do think it's an interesting conversation to have, though. I think a lot of us are easy to call anybody our friend because of how lonely we are. That's why I don't consider work friends your friends. The first way you can make your work friend your friend is if your work friend, if you're willing to hang out with your friend outside of work. That means you enjoy your friend's company enough that you can go, hey, on Saturday we're doing. It also means that you have interests that outside of work, right? That's my other thing. We're cool, but if we only talk about work, that means work is the only thing tethering our relationship. If we can't talk about anything else, personally, emotionally, mentally, we're not fucking friends. We're just people who work together and get along together and work. But people are, like I said, are so willing to grab that and be like, that's a friendship, because they know if they let it go, they don't have nothing else. They're reaching for a lifeline, and they're just like, well, work friend. See, he's my friend. We hang out after work. I'm like, that's not the same thing. Me hanging out, not after work. We hang out at work. No, I'm legally required to be here if I want to make money. This has nothing to do with you and me. This is about the money. This is about the money, not this, the money. That's why I don't like calling work friends my friends. The other type of friend is the friend that you only meet in very specific situations. Usually if they need something or you need something. If all our interactions are transactional, We are not fucking friends. What we are people who find each other convenient. Those are the people, like, the modern day definition of what that actually is just called a plug. It's a person that you're cool with, that you can get shit from, but they can also get shit from you because you both have connections for shit that the other person may want. That is a transactional friendship. That is not a friendship. That is a, hey, I need some new shoes. You need a new game. I can get you a discount. You can give me a discount. I can get you a discount. That's not friendship. That's fucking, hey, we are both connections. We're networking. It's like fucking LinkedIn. That's why you talk about the importance of networking. You ain't got to be friends to network. But people, like I said, people who are lonely very much grab onto those relationships as if they're like major. It basically means a lot of people come to me for advice and shit. Getting a date is easy. Having a fun date is something else. Well played. Also, I have a few friends from my old job that I truly consider my actual friends who I keep in touch to this day. I had two in my life that lasted as long as me and Sydney Sweetie. Jesus Christ, Richard, chill out. That is a wild take. Jesus. But the problem, like I said, is that when people are lonely, they look at any interaction. It's also how they become socially awkward and become like weird to be around, because it's like, how the fuck do I act around people when I'm not around people? Unfortunately, it's like a losing battle, and you're just gonna keep falling. The moment you fall, like, it's like, hey, here's a hill, here's an incline. You're walking up the incline. The incline is like the social competence level, right? And your friends can pull you to get you over the hill to where you can kind of just snowball into social maturity, right? But if you're climbing up the hill and you keep tripping and you keep falling and you just stumble and nobody's there to grab you and pull you along, you're just gonna tumble. And eventually you'll just become so socially inept and naive and immature that you just won't function in modern society anymore. Which fucking sucks, because there's nothing you can really do except hit rock bottom and hope somebody comes to pull you along. You know how hard is it? People struggle with multiple things in their life: addiction, obsession, just a whole mess of things. Social is the one thing you should be able to lock in early on, because that's what school is partially designed for. Yes, it's for education, mental wise, but it's also for social interaction. You gain your social skills by interacting in school and around people because you're forced to be there. But it's funny because people don't look at school. School's in the same vein as work. I am required to be at school, so our interactions is based on school. That's why if you only talk to your friends about teachers and schoolwork and you don't talk about anything outside of that, you're not actually friends. Hence why when you graduate high school and none of those people keep in touch with you. I wonder fucking why. Oh, it's because you're not actually friends. You just fucking, you went to school together. That's not the same thing. And unfortunately, it takes some of us way too long to figure that out. Give me a drink, guy. I want to finish this because I don't have a lot left. And then I could throw it in the trash. This is good stuff, though. All right. Full big back energy, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we do it. Actually. I mean, that's partially true, Revolver. But I also think some people are just genuinely awkward. And what makes them awkward is because they don't have much to say. And some people are okay with that quiet and silence. A lot of people aren't. Hence why they struggle with the whole, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't talk, he doesn't give me anything. Being in a friendship is somewhat uncomfortable sometimes, because you're sometimes put in situations you wouldn't normally not put yourself in. But you have to do it in order to grow. That's why I made the comment a while back that life, in terms of progression, only works when you're constantly putting yourself in situations that you wouldn't normally be in. It's meant to make you uncomfortable. That's why everything that's worth having is hard to get. Because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth having. But we definitely want it to be worth having. I'm gonna stand up and walk around, ladies and gentlemen. I do this every time because if I don't stand and walk around, then my legs fall asleep. I need to wash these dishes. I could wash these dishes, but I don't know where to position the camera so you guys can still see and talk to me while I'm washing dishes. I do have dishes to wash, and I do want to show being a responsible adult is worthwhile and valuable. But well, hold on, give me a second. Let me do this real quick. But the point I'm making is that there is inherently an importance to throwing yourself in awkward positions. And the reason why they're awkward is because you're not used to being uncomfortable, which is kind of an oxymoron to say, because how the fuck do you become uncomfortable? How do you get used to not being comfortable, which would then make you comfortable, meaning you're in a constant state of being uncomfortable, which, is the basis of all of the struggles that we as human beings and as a society go through. We fucking struggle and we fucking stumble all the time. The thing that helps us and is our kind of our winning point, as it were, is our ability to adapt to situations and change and grow with them. Some of that is Stockholm syndrome. Some of that is actively trying to make a change for ourselves. And that's why we tend to show the best of ourselves when pushed into those corners. Some of us fall and crumble, but some of us can stand back up and achieve what we want to achieve. But like I said, friendship, but going back to the loneliness and the friendship thing, it's so fucking hard to build a connection nowadays, especially when we're in a society that very much is focusing on money and financial stability. Just money, realistically. If I'm trying to make money, I'm working 2 jobs. If I'm working 2 jobs, I get home late. When I get home late, I have enough time to have clean clothes for tomorrow, take a shower, eat dinner, maybe chill out for maybe an hour or two watching Netflix or some sort of anime, and then crash for the night, and then we're right back at it again on the next day. The feeling lonely part probably makes no sense since I thankfully got some great friends, etc. When it comes to relationship shrugs. Getting older taught me to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. At 35, I can't afford to live a passive life. I mean, that's important. Like I said, putting pressure on yourself, although it's stressful, will sometimes lead you to be greater or do greater things because of that pressure. For some reason, some of us just perform better in stressful or strenuous situations. And it's funny because the people who tend to perform better in those situations tend to be people who absolutely hate those situations. It's kind of funny and ironic in that way. It's like weightlifting. Once you get used to a certain weight, you increase the weight. Try talking to a person one-on-one. Once that gets easy, talk to a group of 2 or 3 people. Absolutely. You've also got to kind of hope that you're in a group that is forgiving of you fucking up. See, you can't be walking around and say, hey, yo, listen, I'm trying to become human or regain my social intelligence. So I'm going to try having a conversation with you. And I would appreciate it if you would just treat it like a normal conversation. And they'll be like, well, you're weird, bro. I'm not talking to you about that. But you got a couple of people who are like, sure, we can have the conversation and engage with you. That's also how you build friendships. But once again, you have to constantly put yourself in situations you would normally not be in. Like, for example, let's be real, I think a lot of us, myself included, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Well, I get up at like 6 something, get ready for work, go to work, get off at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, my only options at that point are to go do either a walk or wash some clothes or do some dishes and or eat dinner or order dinner and then stream around 8 to give me about 2 hours of streaming time. and then crash out at the end of the night, whether I go to bed or I'm getting ready for bed. And as a result, that means I don't go out and socialize at all. Same thing, but like that, and that's usually the same thing for a lot of adults. We just go and do our 9 to 5 or our 7 to 4 or our 8 to 3, and we just figure that shit. No, that's a bad number. 8 to 3, 7 to 4, 8 to 5, 9 to 6, and we just grow and we just rock it out. And yeah, we're making money, and yeah, we're financially building ourselves up. But as a result, we don't really give ourselves the chance to engage. It was funny. I think we were talking about it last night. How do you meet people as a hardworking, functional adult? Well, you meet them in the same places you've been meeting them. The difference is you gotta actively seek them out now. Like when you were in school, situations were kind of created: dances, football games, sporting events, whatever, pet rallies. There were ways to kind of engage with a bunch of people without you having to set shit up. Now, if you want to create those situations for yourself, you have to actively go seek them out and put in the effort to build and make those connections. And let's be real here, no one wants to fucking do that because either A, you ain't got the time, B, you're not emotionally strong enough or socially smart enough to put yourselves in those positions. And as a result, what tends to happen? You tend to be like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, 3 years have gone by and you've just been by yourself for 3 years. And then, of course, what happens? We tend to get used to what we do repeatedly. So people get used to being alone. People get used to being by themselves. People get used to not having friends or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or just any sort of connection. And so they just take the L and just go, that's life, and go da 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 da. And so now you either have to have someone who cares enough about you to pull you into a situation to where the opportunity to change is given, or you have to make the conscious decision to look yourself in the eye or in the mirror and go, this is not it. This is not the best I can do. I got to do more. That's kind of how it happened with me with the gym and like working out and eating and all that other shit, which obviously I still haven't locked the fuck down. But I still remember the day I started going to the gym consistently. I think I was I want to say I was either in early 20s or late teens. I want to say early 20s because I don't think I did it immediately. I remember I was talking to someone and they kept saying, bro, you keep talking about things you're going to do and things you're going to change and efforts you're going to put in, but you haven't really done anything. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm going to go get the membership. It's like, yeah, you say that, but then you don't actually go get the membership. And I remember that day, just to prove a point, I went and got the membership that day to prove it. And then the question then became, well, why the fuck did it take me talking to you to get you to do the membership? Because let's be real here, this was not a part of your itinerary for today. You didn't intend to go get the membership today, did you? No. So what changed? Sometimes that's all you need is a push. Now, part of me, and this is something, I've actually wanted to write a story or some sort of anime or just like a premise behind it of a character who falls in love with a girl and the girl makes him better, right? Makes him go for his dreams, makes him fight harder for what he wants, and he overall becomes a better person. But the depression kicks in, and the depression kicks in why? Because he comes to the realization that she's the reason why he was able to do those things, and it bums him out because he should have wanted to do those things on his own. Why did it take another person to make him want to do those things? I like that as a concept personally. I like the idea because it's something that kind of bums me out, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, you'll be in a better position once you get a girlfriend or a wife," and I'm like, why do I need a girlfriend or wife to make me better? Why can't I just be better? For some reason, and I think that part of myself irks the shit out of me. That like the only way I can be and get better is with the inspiration of another person. But the cold reality that it's hard to kind of acknowledge sometimes is we constantly need people to do anything. We literally cannot survive outside of the womb without help from others, whether it's your parents or a parental type figure. That is how life is. We do nothing by ourselves. But I guess as an adult, we try to gain this sense of independence and think, Okay, I'm 20 now. I'm 21. I'm 22. I'm 25. I'm 30. I can do all this shit on my own. And the sad reality is, it's okay that you can't. Some people can grind it out on their own and be fine, but some people need the push, and it doesn't make you any lesser for needing the push. But it's hard to come to that acknowledgement because you're essentially looking yourself in the mirror going, I need to lose weight. I need to eat better. I need to clean better. I need to brush my teeth more. I need to do X, whatever. I need to do things better. And it takes either something bad happening or a person hitting, being able to push you for those changes to be made. And then it makes you recognize your own weakness as a human being. That damn, even when shit got bad, it took another person to get me to do better. Not, which unfortunately then tends to devalue your accomplishment in general by thinking, hey, the fact is that you did better. Why aren't you focusing on that? Why aren't you focusing on the fact that you did do better? You did eat healthier. You did start drinking water more. You did start working out. You started losing weight. Yeah, but I did it at 35 because a girl I liked guys like that, and that inspired me. Why couldn't I do that at 25 by myself? That part will always fuck with me. And I think it's going to bother me even now. It's part of the reason why I think I get angry at myself struggling with like my weight and whatever, because it's gonna make me mad if I meet someone and that's what gets me to change. Because then it's like, bro, what the fuck? I couldn't do this by myself. I'm just another weak ass human that needed the inspiration of another individual to get my shit together. The irony of this also being that, like, I know that me talking to some of my friends has led to them improving their lives. Meaning, I am for them what my potential girlfriend could be for me in that situation. And why is it okay that way and not the other? I like that conundrum, particularly because it kind of bothers me in personal life. That seems like a fire story. The girl he loved would have to friend zone him for him to work or become distant. Then his source of motivation would be gone and he might fall back into old habits. Of course, that's the struggle. Why do you think people backslide so hard when they lose the person they love, whether it's because of a breakup or a death or something traumatic happens, like they get killed suddenly in a car accident that no one could have seen coming or no one could have prevented, right? People tend to fall into depression and tend to be worse off because of it. That's why you'll hear a lot of guys will say, if they lose their wife, will say something on the lines of like, she was like my heart. She was literally half of me. And they mean that. The confidence you were given, oh man, Justin's so confident. Why is Justin so confident? Because he knows he has his wife right there behind him. You know how much confidence a motherfucker gains when they know they have nothing to lose? Or when they have something to lose, that makes them want to fight harder to maintain it and to keep it and to protect it. And it's like, fuck, why is that how we work? Why is it that I can't hit you as hard as I can when we're in a fight, but when my little sister's behind me and I know if I fall over, she's getting knocked the fuck out or getting harmed in some way, I somehow can now hit 30 times harder? It's actually like the shonen trope. The power of friendship is literally that premise, which is funny because we hate it, but that's literally what it is. It's that fucking like, I can't fucking lose because I have people to protect. Which is actually, that's another question. Who is a more dangerous person? A person who's lost everything or a person who has everything to lose? Ooh, that's actually really good. Hold on. It's even worse. Oh, thank you for the $5, Revolver. It's even worse when you get someone and don't do the work and you're in a bad relationship plus stress from the work. Of course, toxic relationships can do that as well. Why can I not add the poll? Oh, wait. Is it trying to? No. Hey, Ryan Sword. Why can I? Oh, wait. Hold on. I think I have to end this poll. Damn. Okay. So most of you guys said getting a date is harder than making friends, which is interesting. But it is an interesting choice. But I'm going to do that. Oh, I got another poll. Hold on. Hold on. What's more dangerous? That's not a question mark. I can't spell nothing. Holy shit. Sorry, give me a second, guys. There we go. I like that a lot. All right, I got an important Zoom to focus on, but I'll keep the stream turned on. Thanks for the support, bro. Snow bunny, chocolate bunny, or rice bunny. I just like women, bro. I'm not even worried about that. So judging from the title, there's no fucking tonight. No, but I kind of locked myself into like a cool concept for like a story. And actually, I think it's a genuinely interesting question. What is a more dangerous man? A man who has nothing else to lose, or a man who has everything to lose? Because when do you fight harder? Do you fight harder when you have nothing, when you have everything to gain? Or do you fight harder when you have everything to lose? Who makes you, but it's crazy. I don't know, it's crazy to me that like the traditional shonen power up is literally just the fear of losing what's important to you. It's like the Ichigo protect my friends mentality versus the versus um damn, I can't even think of, I'm trying to think of a character who's lost it all and literally is fighting to get it back. I'm trying to think of someone help me out. Someone help me out. But I do find that interesting. That's something about the human spirit that kind of fucks me up. But it also kind of makes me mad. I guess my question, and the other thing would be asked at that point is, how do you guys feel about it? Do you hate the fact that your best self is locked behind a love of a person that you may not have met yet? That your future wife or girlfriend has the key to your ultimate self? I got one. He kind of smells like a baka. Oh yeah, guts. Yeah, guts. Guts would be a good one. Uh, but no, like how do as people, how do you feel that the best version of yourself is essentially locked behind another person that you may or may not have met yet, or behind a conversation that may or may not have happened? Like the fact that this girl I was talking to at the time unlocked me going to the gym makes me kind of, in like retrospect, fucks me up, because it means, what would I have never gone to the gym if we didn't have that conversation? Or would I have just gone to the gym later and maybe things would have gotten worse for me? Which is then, lingering in the thought process of like alternate timelines and what could or would not have happened. And it becomes like this really weird game of who the fuck, who are you? And how do you feel that everything that you're doing is dictated by others? Your strength as a man or a woman comes from everybody else, and it almost feels like you're barely participating in your life. Like I'm still making choices and I'm still making moves, but like they don't matter to the degree I think they do, mainly because I'm not the one facilitating the change, even though I want to facilitate the change. But the sad part of reality is that I'm not strong enough. Fuck, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. It's not deep. It's just crazy to me. It's not even like it's not even like a crazy revelation. It's just that my mind never walks through the process, bro. Just the fact that like it takes that. Also, what's up, Sora-san? Is it really your best self or just a part of the process? You don't know. That's the scary part. Is meeting that person a part of your process of growth, or are they literally the key to you unlocking the best version of yourself? Does that mean it's almost like what I hate to do it. It reminds me of Dragon Ball. It reminds me of Dragon Ball, how Goku strives so hard to become stronger on his own. He trains, he does X, Y, and Z. He puts in all the effort to become strong, and then all it took was for his friend to die for him to unlock an insane new power. Or even when he got the power of Super Saiyan God, he was like, Beerus said something like, "Oh, you have the power of a god. Why aren't you happy?" He's like, "I like the power, but I hate how I got it. I could only get it through the help of others." And that means you hate it because you couldn't achieve it yourself. Exactly. Does the reality that there's a part of human progression that is locked behind something out of your control, does that hurt your feelings on it, or does it not bother you? Because to me, it low-key bothers me that, like, I can't get better because I haven't had the right interaction, or the right thing hasn't happened yet, or in some cases the wrong thing hasn't happened yet. Sometimes a death in a family causes major progression in a person, and I'm sitting there going, so I gotta lose X, Y, and Z before I become better. And then you're like, fuck, but what if I wanted to show that person the better me? They'll never get it. That's the tragedy of it. I don't know. I'm rambling, bro. I'm rambling. But man, we admitted our weaknesses is an important step. That's true. That's absolutely true. Look at it this way. If the person leaves, how do you react? People underestimate the amount of control they have. That's true too. I hate it because I am rambling. I'm rambling like crazy. I apologize, but it's one of those things that kind of just rolls in my brain, that like the struggles we have as people could easily be remedied, but we almost choose to take the harder route of it all. Because I would imagine people look at humans and go, bro, you guys could get stronger if you would just focus on your goals. Why do you keep getting distracted? But it also reminds me of that episode, of some of the episodes right before the Cell games happened, and Dragon Ball. I'm making a lot of Dragon Ball comparisons. I'm a little surprised considering I figured that'd be more Tyrone's thing. Like, Goku was like, bro, it's like, yeah, you can train your ass off and become stronger. Why did you guys take the last 7 days just to chill and relax? Because sometimes there's just as much value in training as there is sitting down enjoying the grass. It's almost like it's like a mixture of your inner peace and your physical peace. You still got to put the work in, but if you can't enjoy just life without having to do anything, it's almost like you're missing the point. Well, yeah, Gohan ain't shit without his dad, essentially. Chill out, Orion. That's wild. I feel like I have more now after being married. I actually feel like I can plan my future. But, and I guess that's the part of the conversation that you miss. Or actually, Sorzan, you're the best person to ask. Does it bother you that that person that you are now could not be achieved if you didn't find your wife? Like, does any part of you get bothered by that realization that the version you are now would never have been possible if you had not met her and y'all had not gotten together / married? Like, ah, I'm tripping. You know, he reached 16 to get Super Saiyan 2. That's how Goten was born. You villains. Y'all are villains. It's funny, but it ain't villainy. But it is something that just kind of piques my interest, that like it took, and I guess that's the thing that like it also makes me fucked up, because then it makes me think that some people's roles in life are to facilitate the growth of others. And obviously as a parent, I think that makes a little bit more sense. But if you're just some dude and somehow end up like, I think there's a good example of that. If anyone's seen Sket Dance, this is a little bit spoilish for Sket Dance, but I think around episode the 47, 48, 49, around there, you get the flashback for the main character Bossoon, who it finds out on his, I think it's his 15th or 14th birthday, he finds out that he's adopted. Both of his biological parents are dead. And then he finds out how both of his parents died. His mother died giving birth to him. His father died because on his way to the hospital for her birth, his death was because he decided to jump into a running car to protect this little boy in the neighborhood. And it's one of those what the fuck moments because you're like, Dad, you were supposed to fucking be there for me and you weren't. But your actions saved the life of a completely different child who then grew up to become a better person as a whole. Which, and I guess in a way, would make his life still worth it. He was still able to give birth to a person as good as his son while also facilitating the growth of a completely different guy. But do you feel happy that that life was just for that? Well, I'm saying just for that, maybe because it downplays it. His dad became a spiritual savior. Fuck you. Well, I guess it's more like I don't know where my life would have had if I had not met her. I want to say that I probably would not have moved on to my current job and if it not had been for her support. But like, well, I guess, but that's my point. Like, does the realization that that wouldn't have happened without a whole nother person, does that bother you or are you perfectly fine with that? And I'm not saying you have to be bothered by it. I'm just curious because I like that part of the conversation that like another person is affecting your growth as an individual in a way that you feel like the fact that you were like, I would probably not be where I am today if not for this one person. Oh man, I gotta chill out. I feel like I'm just my mind's rolling, bro. My mind's rolling because I'm just thinking out loud. But conceptually, it's a cool premise that like it's a cool idea. That's why I said I would love to do a story. I've actually, for those who don't know, and most of you don't because I haven't really talked about it. I have at least 3 story ideas I've been working with in my mind for a hot minute now. Most of which have not gone past just a general concept for like the story arcs and the characters. But if you guys want to, I'll kind of go over at least one of them with you. So the idea is that it's one of those high school battle shonens, but it's a little bit different. Well, it's not different. It's different, but it's not, if that makes sense. So the premise is that we have a main character and then a female love interest. It's mostly a romance. It's pretty much a shonen romance. Our main character is a very introverted, withdrawn kind of guy. He has really no self-confidence whatsoever, but he does have one ability. He can run really fucking fast. Why can he run really fucking fast? It's because he was bullied a lot, and as a result, he constantly was running over time, which then gave him the unique ability to borderline teleport. Essentially, the bullying and him running constantly led to him becoming a super fast individual. Anywho, the idea is that the way the school works is it's like a team up tournament. Like every grade level and every class has like these team up pairs, and you can do this to earn points and to raise your status in the school. Obviously, with freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors being at the top of the class, but you can raise your standing if a class is able to overcome in tournaments. Now that part isn't overly important. The point is that he ends up meeting this girl who's like this fucking powerhouse. She throws hands like crazy, but she's really fucking slow. Not mentally, but physically. She can't duck or dodge anything. She just is really good at throwing hands. The point is they end up getting together, working together to lead into the improvement, to essentially lead their classes to victory. But the part of the story that I think is more interesting, the part that I fleshed out more, is the family dynamics. So the main guy's family has a bunch of internal trauma that hasn't been addressed. Essentially, it's just him and his little sister. But over the course of the story, he actually has an older sister and his mother and father who were both not living with them. So like throughout the story, you'll meet more of the dude's family. Like it started like the first arc is him saving his little sister and the love interest helping him to save his little sister, which then also leads to gaining a new ally, a new friend for him. So he's making friends while also saving his family members. And the idea that I have for the story is that like it almost has a Rock Lee complex to it, where the girls that he meets are intrinsically stronger than them. There will be three girls in total, three guys. The main gimmicks, the main bases of power sets for each of the guys is your main character who's super fast, the secondary character who's essentially the opposite. He's a brick wall who can take any damage and defend anything. And then the third character who's he has to be short, like he's like midget height. And he has a very it's that whole pretty face but devious personality, while also his only ability being projectiles and also being able to out blitz the main character in speed, but he's nowhere near as strong. Like his hits are nowhere near as hard as the main characters. Like the main character is the balance. Like one friend is the overall defense, the other friend is like the overall speed, and the main character. And essentially having three female characters who are also in that same range of overly powerful, overly defensive, balance in between. Except the difference is each of their love interests fall in and out of that interaction. So the main guy, his love interest is the super strong girl, and then the overly defensive guy, his main interest is the neutral girl, meaning the girl who is balanced in both power and speed, kind of similar to the main character. And then the final girl is the complete opposite of the pretty face, devious personality. She's she's devious, but a fucking like saint. But the point of this whole story, the family dynamic part of it, which is the part I probably fleshed out more in my head, is the constant struggle of his lack of self confidence in a family who all suffer from the same problem in different ways. For example, the youngest sister, who is the first family member you meet, has a complex because she's also absurdly strong. The idea I'm going with is that his younger sister is canonically the strongest person in the story, but she is super insecure about her strength because she's a child and doesn't know how to control it. The older sister fights completely differently. Right now, I'm rocking the hair thing. I like the idea of her fighting with the hair, even though I know that's a gimmick that's used in a bunch of other anime and manga. Right now, she just fights with her hair, but she suffers from the same like self complex because she wasn't really around to protect her younger siblings, so she doesn't really act like a stereotypical big sister. She's overly nice and overly concerned while also going out her way to like I think the running gimmick with his family is that every character has a big habit of self-sacrificing for one reason or another. And that's just the three siblings. Then you get to the mother and father. I already have an idea for the father. The father and the mother's marriage does not work. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, there we go, another anime marriage not working." But I want to do that primarily because I want to explain why it doesn't work. The way it doesn't work is because the husband is a bad husband, but he's a really good father. Meaning, he is very attentive and loving to his kids. He is really bad at being attentive and loving to his wife. So the way the main character learns how to fight is through his father, but it's like a cool plot twist in a later arc where when the father ends up getting killed for plot related reasons, he ends up showing his son his best technique before he dies. And he's like, well, that technique isn't that good because it still didn't kill me. Yeah, but you don't understand that my son is really good battle IQ. Meaning, every move that the main character knows is a variation of his father's moves, but that's because his father is weaker than his son. Like, for whatever reason, the main character has a habit of misinterpreting the teachings of his dad into creating better versions of the same moves. Henceforth, when he gets taught his dad's ultimate technique, he fucks it up and it becomes stronger than the original ultimate technique in a completely different way. I've like some of this, I've thought of like arcs and shit. I just haven't like connected the story yet, but it's all there. I like it, bro. The mother is not dead, by the way. The mother's not dead. The mother, it's a very interesting dynamic. They both essentially end up getting their true lovers throughout the story, just in different ways. I've already thought about it a lot that like the main character's mother ends up falling in love with like with a neighbor character who I haven't fully fleshed out yet. But I want it to be a neighbor who the only thing I know about him is I want that relationship to they're both going to be gradual in different ways. But that'll be the relationship that gets like really fleshed out. The dad will more than likely fall in love with the main character's sensei character. But that will also be done in a different way because, as I told you, the main father is dead. I have like an arc already set up in my mind where they have to go, they have to fight in hell, which is where the main character's father ends up finding his love. Once again, it's a lot of detail, and I don't want to go too much into it, but it's like that. It's essentially I'll give you the premise of the arc. The premise of the arc is that the main character ends up doing some self-sacrificing bullshit. He's actually going to do it multiple times in the series, but he's going to get purely punished for it the second time he does it, where he actually just stays dead. So now he's trying to survive in hell, which is where he runs across his father, which then leads into a whole nother arc, which then also leads into the introduction of his love interest, who actually is a sensei character who will also be teaching the main character. I even have like a wedding arc where his mother is forced into a forced marriage, where he finds out about his half brother that he didn't know about, but it's not half where like his dad cheated on his mom, but more so his dad had a relationship before his mother, so it's the oldest brother. So in his family, he has an older half brother, a slightly less older sister, him, and then his baby sister. And the whole arc is around like the half brother, his mom, and this wedding that's being forced on them, and then essentially his half brother coming to acknowledging him as family. I know this is a lot and I'm rambling, but it's just stuff that's been in my mind that I don't think I've ever really talked about, particularly because I haven't written any of this down. These are just arcs. I even have like, and I like that arc because there's a bunch of cute moments I've already like low-key thought about. Like how the way the fight with the older half brother starts is that all the other siblings are excited to have an older brother. Like the oldest sister is like, I never had to call anyone big bro before. This is while they're fighting, mind you. They're fighting and she's geeking out over having an older brother. Like I like that as a premise. So like the first half of the fight is just them fighting each other and them all excited about, oh, I got a half brother, and him being like, knock it off. This is not what this is. You're losing your mother. You're not taking this seriously enough. And they're all like, no, we're getting an older brother. We're not losing our mother. And it becomes like, that's like the way the arc starts. I mean, that's the way the fight starts. Even with the main three guys and girls, I have the running idea. Like I think canonically the girls are stronger. All three of the girls are stronger. None of the guys are stronger. And some of the arcs will be based around the fact that the guys aren't stronger, but they have to do something creative in order to keep up with the girls. But we're also going to do the stereotypical latent power bullshit, meaning that the girls are stronger, they just don't know it yet, or they don't know how to control it yet. I've thought about a lot, but I just don't have enough there to make like a full story. But it is something that's been on my mind, and I do want to do at some point. I'm so sorry to throw this in this stream, considering the stream is not supposed to be about that, but still. But yeah. The loving father going to hell will make more sense if I ever like write the story out. These are just things. I even have a whole arc around like the main character struggling with falling in love with the main girl because he's constantly fighting his own neurosis and self-loathing. I even want to do like an alter ego character, kind of like how One Piece has like Afro Luffy and Nightmare Luffy. I want to do a variation of the character that's called like overconfidence mode, meaning it's a version of him that is so unnecessarily confident it just becomes fucking ridiculous. There's a lot of premises I have. I just haven't sat down and gone through the process because right now they're all just in my head. It's funny. I tend to use some of these stories I made up as like motivation when I'm in the gym. Yeah, actually, yeah, kind of like Stefan Urkel mode, but not so blatant. It'd be more so he's forcing his confidence so hard that it becomes a parody of itself. Like where it's like I'm the strongest. He'll be like, I'm so strong, even God fears my power. And it'd be like, what the fuck? Why are you talking like this? And even the characters around him would be like, bro, why'd you change your voice? And where the fuck did you get those shades from? He's like I want the running joke to be that for whatever reason, when he gets into this mode, he always has shades on, and they never are shown. He never pulls them out of anywhere. The shades just randomly appear on his face in the middle of a cut, and he's like, "What's up with those shades?" Mortals can. It's almost like take Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. Take that cockiness, but take like half of the seriousness out of it. Same cockiness, but take the seriousness out of it. So it seems stupid more than like cool and fearing. Like it's just like, who decided that, huh? Me. Who said you were stronger than me, man? No one. And it's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like you can tell he's struggling with the confidence, but it makes it funny because he's so overplaying it. Um, I would like an arc where the main character is gone and the side characters step up. I have a variation of that arc. Not that they necessarily step up. I even have an arc that focuses on the main character and one of the side girls, not the main girl, the side girl, where they're pulled into the younger siblings' day-to-day life. So, for example, I haven't worked out the premise of it yet. I just know that one of the main villains has figured out a way of getting what he wants, and it involves him going back to when going back to a certain point in time and not causing an event, not even stopping an event, but just being in the presence of an event. So, and which I think is a more interesting premise, that his whole thing is he needs to be present for a certain event, but they don't know what the event is, and only the two characters who can like hit a certain power level can even achieve to get that same jump in time. So the arc is like like the main character, one of the main girls, and the main villain, kind of in the daycare. Like, and I want it to be like a late game arc. Like the late game arc is that you're in a daycare and you're fucking with the main villain, but none of you fuckers are strong enough. And I want to do that juxtaposition. I want to do that juxtaposition where half of the issue is they're trying to take themselves overly seriously. Like, I'm going to use the ultimate technique. No, that technique whiz. No, you can't stop me now. And then the fucking daycare lady comes up and goes, all right, kids, snack time. You know what it reminds me of? I forget the dude's name. I think it's Bruce something. He did. He turned like toddlers hanging out into like the mafia. It's the same kind of vibe where it's super childish shit with like a weirdly serious undertone. I want to do something like that because I think it'd be kind of cool and funny. But sorry, this is just me rambling at this point. I'm just talking about things. But in all seriousness though, I think I'm gonna go wash these dishes. And realistically, if I wash these dishes while I'm on the stream, you guys won't be able to hear me because the water will be too loud. So I think we're gonna call it here. I think we have a good, effective talk. Sorry that it's kind of all over the place, though. Did you see my answer? What was your answer? Hold on. I'm sorry. I did. Where is it? Then my answer to that is, I am personally glad to know that I have someone in my corner that cares about me to push me and further in life. Which, to be fair, I think is the most important part. It's just that I think the problem is it's a fight between your heart and your ego. Some people's ego is too big that they can't just accept the love that's getting poured into them. Which is how some people destroy their own relationships, which then leads to being alone again. The worst part is some of those people don't know why it's happening. And their answer is simply, it's because you won't let other people love you. It's that whole overly being guarded and feeling like you got to do everything. Ironically enough, half of being vulnerable is giving yourself the ability to have some grace, that you're going to fuck up and you're going to struggle and that you need help. And being able to acknowledge that is a part of the process. But if your ego gets too big and it's in the way, you'll never become the person that you can become, because you're always stepping in front of yourself, cutting yourself off. You know what? That's good. Actually, that's a good way to bring it back to the core of the topic. Don't cut yourself off. Accept the love and accept the support, because it can get you to where you need to be, like everything else can. But I'm gonna call it for now, because one, my arm is getting tired, and two, like I said, I want to wash the dishes, and I can't wash the dishes with this thing on, and you guys still hear me. So I'm gonna get out of here. Tomorrow will be the continuation of Pokemon Coliseum, 100% run. So look forward to that. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. This has indeed been your boy, the Insane Game Freak. Life is indeed a game. I say play to win. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Peace out. Oh no, not the hiccups. Not the hiccups.